viewers, welcome back to my videos. Today we can discuss on the topic banking, that is from the chapter Money and Banking, class 12 economics. Then can you name financial institutions? Any financial institutions? Yes, bank. Bank is a financial institution. So there is a question arise, what is a bank? Can you tell me what is a bank? Bank is a financial institution is engaged in borrowing and lending activities. What is the bank doing? They are accepting the deposits and lending loans. We people, common people can approach the bank for depositing our extra amount, our extra money, and if there is any emergency, that time also we can approach the bank for taking loan. So that is the main function of a bank. So main function of a bank is accepting deposit and lending money. Then we need to think about the structure of a bank. In India, we have a two-tier banking system. That is, we can divide it into two, central bank and commercial banks. Central bank is the apex bank of India. And the name of central bank in India, that is Reserve Bank of India. So what is commercial banks? Commercial banks, they are doing for the public. For example, State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank. These are the examples of the commercial banks. And all these commercial banks comes under the control of the Reserve Bank of India. So that is the main function of Reserve Bank, that is to control the operations of all the commercial banks. So that is, I told you, two-tier banking system in India, Reserve Bank of India and the commercial banks. Now we can learn in detail the functioning of commercial banks. Commercial banks are the financial institutions who accept demand deposit from the general public, transfer from one bank to another and create money. So here we can see that three processes. One is they are accepting deposit from the public. All people, all common people can approach the commercial banks and they can deposit their money in the bank. Then another process is commercial banks, they are transferring fund from one bank to another. Transfer of funds, that's another process. Next process we can see that they are creating money. How they are creating money, that we need to study in detail from today's class. So three processes are there. They are accepting the deposit. And a person, if there is any surplus, I can approach the bank and I can open a bank account and I can deposit. But there is an agreement in between the depositor and the commercial banks. That means the depositor can withdraw their money at any time. So you just imagine that person A, they are depositing 1000 rupees. Person B depositing 1000 rupees. Person C depositing 10,000 rupees. So different people, different individuals, they are depositing different amount in the commercial banks. If the commercial banks lending the whole amount, 1000 plus 1000 plus 10,000, what will happen when the person immediately meeting the bank for withdrawing the money? There is a collapse. So here we can see that commercial banks, they will not lend the whole amount of deposit. Then what they will do? They will keep a certain portion of the deposits with themselves and at the same time at the central bank. And that reserve ratio, that is legally, compulsorily, they are keeping this reserve, this portion of the deposits with themselves or in the central bank. And that is what is called legal reserve ratio. In short, LRR. capital LRR. Legal reserve ratio. Legally reserved a certain ratios of the deposits with the commercial banks. And here we can see that there are two components of the LRR. One is SLR and another one is CRR. SLR, statutory liquidity ratio. That means a portion of this LRR keeping with the commercial banks. Commercial bank keeping with themselves. That amount we can call it as SLR. Then what is CRR? That is a portion the commercial banks keeping with the central bank. So these are the two components of LRR. SLR and CRR. Then we can come back to the money multiplier. Creation of money in the commercial banks. I told you there are deposits are there and certain portion of the deposits they are keeping with themselves or in the central bank, and that is what is called LRR. For the creation of money in the commercial banks, this LRR play an important role. There we can see that deposit creation or money creation, deposit creation, there is a formula for creating the deposits. Deposit multiplier. They multiply this amount by LRR. What is the formula for calculating this deposit multiplier? Deposit multiplier is equal to 1 by LRR. And this LRR, legal reserve ratio, that is decided by the central bank. That I will explain the next video. LRR, suppose at present the LRR is 20%. Now we can discuss how the commercial banks create money when the LRR is 20%. Come back to this example. Here we can see that in a particular commercial banks, there is an initial deposit of 1000 rupees and the LRR is 20%. What is the 20% of 1000? That is 200. This 200 they are keeping as LRR, that is the reserve amount in bank. What will happen to 800? 800 rupees 800 commercial banks lending as loans to the public. The lenders, they should open a bank account. This amount will move to their account only. Okay, so in the first round, this loan amount moving to the moving as the deposits. From this deposit, they will keep 160. That is the 20% of 800. 160 rupees keeping as reserve. Balance 640. They are lending us deposits for another, lending us loans, lending money to another person, and that person also open an account. That is the second round, 640. Then from the 640, 128, that is the 20% of LRR, keeping us reserve in the commercial banks, and 512 rupees lending as loan. So this process will continue, second round, third round, fourth round. Then we need to calculate this total deposits or total loans or this amount. For that we are taking the formula deposit multiplier 1 by LRR. How can we calculate this 5000? No, we are not taking the total of 1000 plus 800 plus 640. We are calculating this 5000 deposit into 1 by LRR. Deposit 1000. 1000 into 1 by LRR. 1 by LRR is 1 by 20%. 1 by 20% is 1 by 20 by 100. How can we calculate? You learned in maths the reciprocal. That means 1 by 20 by 100 means 100 by 20, that is 5. We will get deposit multiplier is 5. This deposit into deposit multiplier 1000 into 5, that is 5000. So again 800 into 5. No. Here we can see that deposit 1 by LRR 1000 into 1 by LRR, 1000 into 1 by 20%, 1000 into 1 by 20 by 100, that is 1000 into 5. 5,000, that is the deposit multiplier. So what is the formula for calculating deposit multiplier? 1 by deposit into 1 by LRR. So in this example, 1000 into 5 is equal to 5,000. This is a way of money creation in the commercial banks. In the commercial, the main function of commercial banks is accepting deposit, lending loans, creating money. From this deposits only, commercial banks creating money. Okay? Thank you.